And we are live. Hey guys, this is Ruben Dua from the Dubb podcast Connection Loop. Today I have with me Hamlet Azarian, based in Los Angeles. Actually, we both went to the same university, USC. So a huge shout out, Fight On Trojans. Really cool kind of way to network with people that went to the same school here. That's a nice surprise. Today we're going to get into the topic of growth hacks, search engine optimization, backlinks, how to effectively grow a startup, a company, all white hat methodology, all best practices, Google approved, if you will. But we have an expert. So without further ado, let's get just right into it. Hamlet, if you could start with a short bio, and then let's get into the topic.
No, of course. Well, thanks for having me. A little background about me. I own a link building tool SaaS product called Link Signal AI. We built this tool a little over a year and a half ago when we started noticing that there's a current void in how to go out and build partnerships that really matter. And the reason we built this tool is we wanted to figure out an easy process for us to research and find contacts and people we should reach out to that can kind of give us the clean metrics that these are in fact legitimate websites. They're not PBNs, they're not blog networks, but these are really good sites that if you build a relationship with them over time, your backlink authority will grow and hence your site domain authority will get better. I've been doing SEO for a little over 12 years, so working predominantly in the early stage startup segment. And one of the challenges that I always would run into in this segment is that we would kind of, if you look at SEO and break it up into three pillars, we would always do the first two things really well, which is content and building keywords and writing the right authoritative information, and we would have a really fast website, but we would never ever rank. And one of the challenges we ran into as being in an early stage is no one knew who we are. So we needed to figure out a methodology to reach out to these different websites and start forming partnerships, and hence how Link Signal was born.
Got it. So yeah, we receive a number of requests from other companies asking to be guest bloggers on our blog, or if we want to post something on their blog. We receive those, and I think the reason why folks do that obviously is because they want the backlinks and they want to kind of get, and I'm sure that has some conversion rate. I'm sure some people like that because it's a way to sort of mine content. My first question for you is, how do we make this as organic as possible, where the partnerships, the yeses that we get are coming from a place of trust, mutual benefit, and overall just having a positive user experience for everyone?
No, great question. So part of what we do is we have a managed service division. So we actually work with other marketing agencies. We actually do the outreach for them. So what we quickly learned is, hey, you can have the tool, but if you don't know how to use the tool, you don't know how to sift through the data, how do you go about and finding actual partners that really matter, right? Mm-hmm. So what we started doing is we started looking through and saying, okay, this is really not link building anymore. Like the days of the good old, let me just write a guest post and kind of rank, and hopefully I do hundreds and thousands of this will work over time, and just kind of the spray methodology is not what we're really about. What we're really about is more of a blend of PR, right? So we're really trying to figure out, how do we partner with you? How do we create content together in collaboration? How do we share data? You might have data that you have, and we might have data that we have, and how do we provide this data together and create an epic piece that with both of our promotions, we can help both of our sites. So those are the kind of the level of partnerships we're really looking for. It's not, let's go get 1,000 backlinks and we'll win just by sheer numbers. It's let's just go get like 20 to 50 to 200 of the right links, and how do we form a mutual partnership that's very custom in most of these instances that can help both of us out.
That makes a lot of sense. I agree with the strategy of playing the role of a publicist, of a PR agent, because the stories that get picked up are the stories that are newsworthy, because when someone wants to write a blog post or to publish a blog post, it has to be story driven, where there's some sort of an arc, some sort of education, some sort of entertainment that occurs during that kind of consumption process. And without that story, without that high quality content, nothing is going to happen. So that makes a lot of sense to me. One of the companies that I think has gotten a tremendous amount of PR is Gravity Payments. I still see their stuff, and they sort of had this simple story where the CEO just decided to raise their minimum wage to $70,000 a year for all employees in the U.S. And that got a ton of press, and he's still getting press. He was on a bunch of TV shows. And isn't it interesting where you have an angle, you have to go pitch, and now all of a sudden publicists and journalists and blog writers are seeking out to you and finding ways to get in touch with you so that they can feature you. So how do we do that? How do we write stories that attract? How do we get people to actually say, you know what? Yeah, I want to publish this.
You have to look at how you're different in your space, right? So yeah. I'll give you an example. One of the startups that I've been with for over 5 or 6 years is called Camino Financial. And what they do is they provide business loans, which is one of the most probably boringest space you can be on online. And it's in this area, you just generally won't get picked up, right? So what we started doing is we started looking at the real story of what we do. And what we really do is we power the underbanked. And not just any underbanked, we power the Latino segment in the underbanked, who is a cash-based business, right? That is predominantly undocumented, or no one is lending to them. They've been being given a lot of bad advice over the years. So what they've been told by their tax accountants and financial advisors is kind of, don't show how much money you're making your cash-based business. You have to pay less taxes and so on and so forth. But what that's done is that's handcuffed them. And it's handcuffed them to a point where they can't grow. They can't get access to capital, and they're not able to get any type of loans that could allow them to buy equipment, buy financing, and so on and so forth. So we took that element of the story, plus another element of the story, which is the founder's story, right? And what the founder's story is about Sean and Kenny, who went to Harvard MBA, got their MBA from there, and watched, more importantly, what happened to their mom's business. And what they saw in their mom's business when they were younger is she grew a very successful restaurant chain, got it up to about 30 to 35 or so restaurants. And she lost all of it. And she lost all of it for what are the reasons? She didn't have the right capital. She didn't have the right education. She wasn't provided guidance along the way. And she went from having a very successful restaurant chain here in the Los Angeles area to having nothing and being forced to migrate out of the U.S. To Mexico. So that's where they ended up growing up. So this element.
What was the name of the chain?
I don't remember her name, but I'll send that to you afterwards. But
okay, yeah.
But the element is, we have a segment we're going after, trying to resolve, right? That no one is taking care of. And on top of that, we have founders who have a story that's very entrenched in them, and they're not going to give up. And when you combine those two things together, it becomes easier to be able to generate a lot of PR off of it.
That makes a lot of sense. I think it's about being transparent. It's about being honest. It's about going to the origin story a lot of the times. What is the origin story of the business? Why are you out there? Who are you trying to help? Why are you trying to help?
Why are you doing what you're doing, right?
Yeah.
What's driving you at the end of the day? Like for me, what's driving Link Signal at the end of the day is we want to help. We genuinely want to help get other founder stories out there, right? We know how hard it is. Like what I've been doing for a lot of years is I work with early stage startups, just free advisory, candidly. So I'll go in there and I'll kind of hear their story out. I'll hear what they're struggling with. I'll work with accelerators. I'll work with studios, and I kind of mentor these startups at the super early stage when they really don't have anything at all. They just have an idea and a passion. And I start digging and trying to figure out what's the real why of what they're doing, and help them clarify what's the real problem that they're trying to solve, right? And making sure that they can validate that, by taking it to the market to see if it's a genuine pain point.
That makes a lot of sense. Now, what does Link Signal do? You know, I had a chance to kind of set up a trial account, and I'm sort of in the platform. In fact, I have it on my screen right now. I'd love to get an analysis. Maybe we could do something in real time. Is there any way you could sort of describe the problem solution?
Sure. So whenever you're doing any type of outreach, right? So you actually want to build a genuine link profile, and you want to start ranking on SEO. So that's the problem you're trying to solve. And what Google does is it looks at 3 factors. I've kind of narrowed it down for you. And one of the factors initially I told you about is, what are you writing about? What is the on-site content you're writing? Is it, is it expertise? Is it authoritative? Is it has trustworthiness? So EAT is kind of the acronym that they go by. Okay. So you can write a really terrific content piece. Then it's how good is the user experience? How well is your site loading? Is it easy to interact with? Are you optimized? Are your core web vitals in check? Are you mobile optimized, mobile friendly? All elements of that. So that's really the site experience. And the third is, are you as a domain? Are other people linking to you? And are these people that are linking to you part of your industry? So are they active in your industry? Are they actually creating similar content as you? Are they either industry thought leaders, or are they, symmetric to your industry, and it makes sense for a link to naturally come to you from them, right? So what Link Signal does is it allows your outreach team or your business dev team or your partnership team or whatever elements of it that might be to quickly go back and analyze the backlink profile for any one of these. For example, here you're looking at Dubb and you're looking at video marketing, right? So right now what we've done is we've pulled down the Google search results, and we're giving you some metrics. We're giving you out of the box, and these are like paid tools that you would be paying for, and this is all totally free, by the way. So we're giving you the page authority, domain authority, and the spam score, which are metrics from Moz. We're giving you the URL rating, domain rating, referring domains, backlinks, the number of no-follow backlinks, and so on and so forth. All of those are coming from Ahrefs. And then, so what you're quickly able to do, if you wanted to analyze, for example, let's say HubSpot, which is the #1 ranking one for video marketing, you can select that on the left, on the far left. Yep. And then let's say you wanted to also find out how Digital Marketing Institute is doing, which is #4. You can select them. And then let's say you wanted to also know how Neil Patel is doing, #6. So you can select them as well. And then from there, you can analyze. So go to the drop-down menu. You can analyze their backlink profiles. And what this does is we're pulling all the backlinks from all these different tools, and we're going to analyze it for you, and we're going to show you how many roughly referring domains or backlinks are linking to them. And so you can get a historical chart of if you were any one of those URLs, how many do you need to get a month? And then what you'll also notice is this one random month that one of them got a huge spike up, right? So in that 1 month, you can hover over them and see who that was. And that was Digital Marketing, right? Institute that got close to 66 backlinks that month. So there was obviously an active campaign or something that occurred that encouraged all of these backlinks to come in. But on any given month, they're getting anywhere, these actually ranking ones are getting anywhere between, looks like 5 or 8 backlinks. So if you wanted to be competitive in this space, that's your threshold, right? You need 5 or 8 different backlinks from unique referring domains coming to you for a URL that is authoritative in this space. Now, if you scroll down, you want to know who these URLs are. So if you actually scroll down a little bit more, we actually give these to you. So here are all the URLs, and we kind of create this, cross-tab table that shows you what number, all of theirs are, who did they have it from, and which one of these of what quality they are, and you can start searching for it. So let's say if you wanted to only know the follow link, so you can click on the box on top where it says show follow links. A little bit higher. Yep, there you go. And then let's say you wanted to know anything that had a spam score of 0 to 5. So you can, where it says max of 100, you can change that to 5. It's on the far right. That's the domain authority. So you want to leave that at 100. It's the fourth box. Keep on going. That's page authority. The next one is SS, which is spam score.
So the spam score, we want to have that as what?
At 0 to 5. So leave that at 0, and the one that's 100, make that 5. There you go. And then on the page authority, you need to put 100. You kind of have a blank right now. You have 0 to 100.
There it is.
There you go. So this is now showing you all the quality backlinks that are kind of coming in. So on top of this, let's say you wanted to learn who these people are, right? So you can select, for example, entrepreneur. You can kind of go through some of these domains. You can either click on the little plus button to see where the backlinks came in from, or you can, select the actual domains itself. So the little checkboxes. So either one of those two things. Let's say select about 3 or 4 of these. So this is giving you HubSpot. That's the next one's giving you entrepreneur. Let's say you can select Neil Patel and so on and so forth. American Express, the marketing, and exactly. And then lastly, you can unlock the contacts. So what this now does is for your link prospecting team, it gives them contact information from these domains. And then from this point on, they can start narrowing it down, right? So they're getting actual, so for example, there's Neil Patel's contact info, there's Jason's, and these are all publicly available data that we're finding for you and kind of providing it to you. And then including their titles, their Twitter handles, and so on and so forth. So this then can begin the early process of you trying to build a relationship, right? Now you have the data. So now what do? So you go obviously follow them on social media. You start kind of starting to see what they're talking about. So start building a relationship with them. And eventually over time, you start emailing them and connecting with them and so on and so forth. So this whole process that we just did, and we did it in less than like 5 minutes, and it was the first time you using the tool, typically would have taken our outreach team anywhere between 2 and 3 days to get to that stage. So what we've done is we've shortened the time frame that it takes for you to research and go through this process and then find the right contact information so you can begin the harder part, right? That shouldn't be the hard part. Finding the information should not be the harder part. The hard part should be the building of the relationship. So that's what we're trying to speed up. And that's what we encourage our internal teams to do more of, is how do you build these relationships? How do you talk to them? How do you outreach with them? So you're just not another one of those emails that you alluded to, right? You don't want to be the thousands of emails that we all get every day. We don't want to be what I call link builders of the East, right? Like you're just not, it's not the Wild Wild West. You shouldn't be just spamming people. You should figure out how to connect with them and how to build a relationship so you can have a lasting partnership together.
Got it. And then, so how does your program work? So you have, it sounds like your company has software, the software experience, but then it also has sort of an agency component that does some of the outreach for your clients. Can you explain that to me?
Yeah, of course. So what we have is we have managed services, and we work predominantly with marketing agencies, publishers, and brands. So those are the 3 segments that we typically work with. And what we do is we have a dedicated team for you. So what we'll have is we'll have an outreach team. So this outreach team will be going out and using our tool, obviously, and based off of the criteria, analyze your page, analyze and figure out who the partner should be, and so on and so forth, and begin this process of building the relationships for you. And then we have a content team. So the content team is actually creating the content, whatever it might be. So it might be a white paper, it might be a guest post, whatever kind of content that we agree upon, and they become your partners. So we're fully transparent. So we're not just like any other link building or guest posting service. Some of the guest posting service, at least that I came across before we built this, were all more alike, like, hey, yeah, we'll get a guest post for you. It's going to cost you, $50 to $500, some wide range, right? Like it's $500 a backlink. It's $1,000 a backlink. It's $400 a backlink. We don't operate that way at all. We're more of your partnership team, and we're fully transparent and fully open. So you're seeing exactly how we're finding the contact information. You're seeing in a Google sheet who we've reached out to, where we are with the status of everything. If we're producing content for the blog, you are able to read the content if you choose to read it, right? You can be as involved as you want to be. We ask all of this for you. We ask, hey, can you give us your brand voice? How do you want us to present, and so on and so forth. And in certain situations where if we form a really high level partnership that's a contribution article component for you, we'll let you know. We'll be like, hey, this is a pretty high domain authority. This is entrepreneur.com. You want us to write this, or do you want to like have final editing say per se on this, that you can actually put your own voice, right? Like, hey, we formed this relationship. We have it for you. It's a great opportunity. We can craft an outline and ghostwrite it for you if you like. Or you can give us an outline, we can write it for you. Or if you want to write it, you can write it yourself. And we give those opportunities to all our partners.
Amazing. And then what is the cost if a brand wants to, engage with you to handle the analysis and the outreach and some of the writing? What is that? What is a range of pricing? People have that it's that choice that you have to make. Do you outsource? Do you have a partner? Do you hire? Do you insource? Do you get the staffing? What does that look like financially?
It depends on so I'll give you an example. So it depends on the number of outreach we're doing, right? So the more we're doing, the harder it is, candidly, right? So roughly some sort of partner, and what we currently are charging roughly, it works out. I would say, here's an example, right? So one of our managed services for a marketing agency is working out to somewhere between $60 or so per published backlink. So that's what it works out to. And what does that include? That includes us doing the research, us doing the outreach, us doing all of the content. And that's covering really just the labor and the tool and the API cost components of it. That's kind of what it roughly works out to, more or less. How does that compare and stack? If you were to go and purchase from like someone like the Hot, who sells backlinks, openly in the market, right? Where they'll say, hey, a high domain authority can go anywhere between $500 and $600. That's the comparison. So we don't guarantee we'll get you the backlink, right? We'll follow the methodology for you. But candidly, on this particular example I'm giving you, we're getting roughly 100 to 120 backlinks for any given quarter for them. So we're getting about 30 to 40 a month. So that's the methodology we go under, right? We're not the guys that are going to come and get to you and say, hey, we can get 200 backlinks for you every given month. That's just not us. But we can get 30 to 40 good quality ones and be openly transparent with you. You will have the relationships with these domains or in these partners, right? If you want to talk to them, you'll talk to them and form these relationships. That's who we are more than anything else.
Very cool. So where can folks learn more about you, about your company, social handles, website?
Yeah, you can learn more about me on LinkedIn. You can go to linkedin.com and search for Hamlet Azarian, or you can go to linksignal.ai.
Very cool. There it is. Well, Hamlet, I really appreciate your time. Stick around for some notes. I got a couple of follow-up questions here. And thank you so much. Really appreciate you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.